On in the fight, there was every chance that could happen, but I didn't expect even it to happen that quick.
A proper, grueling round of sparring. It was brilliant. We're going back and forth, and obviously I got on the GB assessment, but they were impressed from the spar. And then afterwards, I've been told that he's the next.
What probably surprised? Well, no, probably what surprised me more than anything was the confidence that he had. He was getting in with me. I was world champion at that point. This young man came in and he really...
Eddie Hearn's reaction says it all. After reports of Moses getting the better of Conor Benn in sparring, Eddie tried to keep calm, but the tension in his tone was obvious. Moses didn't just survive, he controlled the exchanges. That kind of dominance in training doesn't happen by chance. And it sparks big doubts about whether Benn is truly ready for the challenge of Chris Eubank Jr.
But he wasn't himself, there's no doubt. But again, you got to give the credit to Moses for going in and getting the job done.
Eddie tried to keep his tone balanced, but the cracks showed. Labeling the sparring not competitive only made it clearer how one-sided it was. Moses Itauma dictated the pace, leaving Eddie scrambling to spin the story. In reality, the young heavyweight looked a class above, and Benn's image took another hit.
But you have to give him credit, and I'm a big fan. I don't want to. When I watched it back, I saw a few people. Oh, Eddie's a hater. I'm not a hater. I think he's the goods. But I don't.
Uneasy mix of praise and denial says it all. The Benn camp is shaken. Moses Itauma didn't just move around the ring, he delivered a statement. Benn asked for pressure and he got burned. Absolute carnage wasn't hype, it was reality. Moses controlled the session, set the tempo, and highlighted Benn's limits. Sparring like that doesn't just test a fighter, it strips them down and humbles them.
Don't take it easy on me. I'm like, all right, cool. We have another scrap, and it's another session. It was just absolute.
Or Moses reflects with quiet confidence, aware that those brutal sessions spoke louder than any headline. His calm under fire and steady discipline in the gym reveal a maturity far beyond his age. Every round only sharpened his edge, while Benn's so-called aggression exposed the gulf in class and composure separating them.
We've done some good rounds. Remember on the Thursday, we done some heavy.
Johnny Nelson points out the one quality that separates real prospects from pretenders: belief. Moses didn't hesitate for a second, stepping in with the composure and hunger of a fighter built for big nights. Against a name like Conor Benn, that kind of self-assurance is dangerous. And right now, all the momentum is swinging Moses' way.
What probably surprised... Well, no, probably what surprised me more than anything was the confidence that he had. He was getting in with me. I was world champion at that point. This young man came in and he really...
Chisora tries to shield Benn with the old "it's only sparring" line. But in elite gyms, those words ring hollow. Learning moments usually mean you've been exposed. Benn getting clipped in training isn't bad luck. It's a defensive flaw that keeps showing up. Moses Itauma's edge wasn't just power, it was timing, awareness, and calm under fire. Chisora's reassurance feels more like concern. Because every fighter knows, if you're getting dropped in sparring, you're already losing control before fight night even arrives.
Because that's only sparring. If you get dropped in sparring, it means you're learning. Tomorrow morning you don't get dropped in the same shot. So him getting dropped in sparring, that means he's learning on the job. So it's okay. Who cares? Alexander usually gets dropped in sparring, but he's learning.
Conor Benn's defiance might sound fierce, but it carries an edge of insecurity. Fighters truly confident in their preparation don't need to bark threats. They project it without words. With stories swirling about him struggling in sparring, his fire feels less like intimidation and more like self-reassurance. Benn is battling for image as much as rhythm. Meanwhile, Eubank Jr. thrives in these psychological battles. His calm, composed demeanor makes Benn's aggression look forced. The contrast is clear. One man steady and focused, the other trying to convince himself he's still a danger.
Dismantle him. I will ruin him. He gets absolutely destroyed. Destroyed. There's no comeback. There will be no comeback after he fights me. When I beat him, I'll put him into an early retirement. I'll put him into...
Cannon Briggs gives it the veteran's touch. Trying to put a positive spin on whispers echoing from the gyms, Conor Benn has been taking damage in sparring. But underneath the upbeat delivery, there's doubt. When a heavyweight legend says, "we'll see," it's really code for uncertainty. Fighters know what those moments mean. Timing disrupted, reflexes shaken, confidence chipped away. Briggs shows respect for the grind, but his words hint at cracks in Benn's preparation. And if that's the case, Eubank Jr.'s relentless pressure under the bright lights could tear those cracks wide open.
Hearing things that he'd been dropped in the ring, in the gym and stuff like that. But that's okay too, because I took a couple spills, little slips in the ring, in the gym. That's okay, but we're going to see.
Eubank Jr. isn't speaking like a man chasing headlines. He's speaking like a man building a blueprint for destruction. Every word carries precision, control, and conviction. Bringing in Brian B-Mac McIntyre isn't about flash. It's about intent. Eubank wants efficiency, not chaos. He's dissecting Benn's rhythm, his reckless surges, his emotional triggers. The plan is brutal in its simplicity. Break him down from the inside out. While Ben scrambles to answer sparring whispers, Eubank sharpens the art of calm violence. That contrast says everything about who's truly ready. His talk of not letting it go 12 rounds isn't arrogance, it's tactical clarity. He won't leave this fight in the judge's hands. And with B-Mac's discipline shaping each step, every round will be measured pressure, every exchange a calculated risk. This is no longer the reckless showman. This is a refined Eubank Jr., a fighter ready to deliver a statement that could reshape British boxing history.
We don't want the fight going 12 rounds. So that means we have to, the best chance of that is to employ a different strategy, have different tactics, have a different mindset on what it is we need to do with Conor Benn in that ring. That's why we brought.
Johnny Nelson's analysis carries a fair, balanced tone, but beneath it you catch the hesitation. His line that Eubank couldn't get rid of him feels generous. Because the truth captured on tape was different. Eubank dictated the tempo, controlled the distance, and punished every reckless surge. Ben's heart has never been in doubt, but heart alone doesn't win at the elite level. The real difference lies in the details. Composure under fire, adaptability mid-round, and the technical polish that Eubank now shows with B-Mac in his corner. Those aren't qualities you develop overnight. Ben's only real weapon is emotional aggression. And ironically, that's the exact fuel Eubank feeds on dismantling. Nelson's optimism sounds less like belief in Ben's progress and more like respect for his toughness.
Conor Benn will be better in the second fight.
Yes.
Does that mean that you think that by him being better and there's no more left from Chris Eubank, that Conor Benn's able to bridge the gap, get an outcome in his second fight? You do.
He couldn't have done any more. If he could have knocked out Conor in that fight, he would have done. He just couldn't get rid of him. And Conor stuck it. So regardless of him being surprised that Conor stuck it out a lot.
Maybe protecting Ben from a harder reality, that this rematch could expose the very same flaws again. Only this time, against an even sharper, smarter Chris Eubank Jr., that interview 11 Eddie Hearn's latest comments shifted the tone entirely. His words carried professionalism, but the frustration slipped through. When he says Eubank Jr. should be here, it's not just a promotional jab, it's a glimpse into the pressure inside Ben's camp. Eubank's silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. While Ben's team scrambles to control the narrative, Eubank stays locked in the gym, not the cameras. That contrast is telling. Hearn's defensive tone feels less like confidence and more like damage control. Every soundbite sounds like a response to doubt, not belief. The old phrase, sick as a parrot, usually means disappointment, but here it reveals unease. Eubank has flipped the mental game. Hearn is forced to explain. Eubank doesn't need to. His silence says it all. Words don't win fights, performances do.
The guy, firstly, the guy is not well. Secondly, the guy really should be here. But the fact that he's not involved, the fact that he couldn't take any money, the fact that he couldn't be involved in any decisions, stand in front of the cameras, is making him sick as a...
Tony. Bellew's words carry weight because he's lived those nights. He's been in the trenches, so when he talks, people listen. But this time, his logic feels shaky. Saying the rematch favors Conor Benn because of youth oversimplifies the picture. Youth isn't the same as maturity. Ben's record shows more recklessness than resilience. Meanwhile, Eubank Jr.'s age has brought something far more dangerous, wisdom. That first defeat forced him to evolve, and his partnership with Brian "Bo-Mac" McIntyre isn't about patching wounds. It's about reinvention. This is a smarter, sharper version of Eubank, not just an older one. Bellew's honesty is respected, but even he sounds uncertain when pointing to Ben's supposed improvements. To truly favor Ben, the rematch would require him to show traits he hasn't mastered yet. Control, patience, tactical discipline. And those are the exact qualities Eubank now embodies. The brutal reality, the quicker the rematch comes, the more it benefits Eubank. He's the one riding momentum, clarity, and composure. Benn, despite his hunger, is still fighting for redemption. Eubank is fighting for dominance. And that's the gulf that could define both their legacies.
He ain't coming back down to 160, so it's got a very short lifespan, this rematch. It's got to be done, the sooner the better. If I'm being brutally honest, the sooner the rematch happens, in my opinion, it favours Conor Benn, because he's the younger fighter who's took less damage and has had a much lesser career with much less experience. For someone like Chris Eubank Jr., it's going to take a while to turn around, and it's going to take a while to recover, because that was a hard fight for him. He was shook a number of times, he felt the shots.
The build-up to this rematch isn't just about pride, it's about legacy. Chris Eubank Jr. has transformed into a disciplined tactician, sharpened under Bomac's guidance, proving that composure beats chaos. Conor Benn, on the other hand, is fighting to claw back credibility after bruising headlines and punishing sparring stories. This isn't just another domestic rivalry, it's a clash of mentality, precision, and heart. If Eubank dominates again, he cements himself as Britain's most composed technician, a fighter reborn through discipline. But if Benn somehow pulls it off, he doesn't just win a fight, he rewrites his entire career. Every jab, every feint, every exchange will decide who truly owns the spotlight in British boxing. So, who are you backing? The reinvented Chris Eubank Jr. or a reborn Conor Benn? Drop your thoughts below and join the debate.